Hi there and welcome to my review of You Were Never Really Here. So You Were Never Really Here is from Scottish director Lynne Ramsay, and Lynne Ramsay has built up quite an impressive career and distinctive career, even though she's only thus far produced 4 films. But amongst those films are masterpieces like 1999's Ratcatcher, which is one of the greatest examples of British social realism, and 2011's We Need to Talk About Kevin, which was a similarly great film. Yet You Were Never Really Here is instinctively my favourite Lynne Ramsay work. It is absolutely, unquestionably amazing. The plot basically follows a hitman, played by Joaquin Phoenix, who's assigned a task to go and save a child. The film becomes some sort of revenge thriller. Lynne Ramsay's built quite a reputation as being a director who films the little details of life and films small things in close-up, and that then represents a lot more than what she's showing you. In many ways, her style is sort of distilled in You Were Never Really Here, because this is a film where almost everything is filmed in close-ups of tiny little items and tiny little objects and tiny parts of people. And yet, all of those things build up an image that is just as informative, if not more informative, than if everything was filmed more normally. This is montage theory at its finest. This is all about how the association between cuts of different objects and items and shots of different things make you think about what is actually going on and what it all means. In many ways, that's kind of what this film is. It's kind of about finding micro beauty in a world full of brutality. And the film is utterly, utterly brutal. This is a film that is full of real art house gore. This is really, really nasty stuff. There is moments in this film which are so uncomfortable. It is without a doubt one of the nastiest films of 2017. The other thing, of course, that Lynne Ramsay does in You Were Never Really Here is she makes the film not about the story at all. Events within the story happen without any reason that the audience is let on to. The characters kind of know, or do they? The characters often know what's going on, but they don't know everything. And events just spiral out of control. There's no reason to what happens on screen in You Were Never Really Here. The audience can sort of grasp bits of it, and you can know why certain things happen, but the wide scale isn't seen. And that's kind of the point, because Lynne Ramsay wants to focus on just the headspace of the main character. It's all about how Joaquin Phoenix's hitman sees the world and about nothing else. It's about how he thinks and how he feels. The fact that there is events that are happening and a plot is kind of a sideshow. The plot is irrelevant. It's all about the mental feelings. And it's all about how if you indulge being part of a world which is so harsh and so violent and so nasty, you can never really clean the blood off your hands. Like, even a baptism will never clean you of everything that you've done wrong. And that is what You Were Never Really Here is about. It's about the limits of violence and about how you can never truly redeem yourself from some of the evil stuff that you've done. And that's really what makes this film so nasty, because the violence is beyond brutal. There is shots in this film which are scarring. They are utterly, utterly uncomfortable and nasty and just really, really horrible to look at. But the reason the film is not the most depressing film of the year, even if it is perhaps the nastiest, is because there's a thread of hope. And that small thread of hope offsets a lot. In many ways, the tiniest amount of hope saves the characters, even if it doesn't save their souls. And that's kind of what makes this a gripping experience, because it's not just nastiness for nastiness' sake. There is a genuine undertone to the film, which is genuinely pushing you towards things which are a bit more interesting. You're watching these events without knowing everything. And it's about subjectivity. The film is about seeing it through one person's eyes. It's about entering the headspace of Joaquin Phoenix's character. And that's why there's so many close-ups, because it's not about seeing everything. It's about seeing one viewpoint. It's about seeing the world of nastiness through one set of eyes. And that is what the film really captures. It captures one worldview that you probably wouldn't have ever captured if you had tried to tell a macro level story about violence in our times. It's because it's so personal. It's because you so enter the headspace. And this is why, although I think on some level You Were Never Really Here has gained a lot of comparisons to a film like Taxi Driver, to me personally, I think it's actually a lot closer to a film like Old Boy. The difference being that Old Boy has an overview. Old Boy has an objective set of facts which you learn. You Were Never Really Here is much more subjective. It's much more what the characters think and feel as opposed to the reality that surrounds them. The taxi driver comparison I do understand, because this is about violence and it is about an underbelly of society that you don't see. And it is also, I guess, on a plot point level, it features New York and it features an election cycle as part of the plot. But for me, the reason I feel like Old Boy is much more reminiscent of it is because, to me, You Never Really Hear is about the nature of revenge. It's about the nature of identity. It's about working out who you are through a process of bleak nastiness. And if we go by pure plot point level, there's hammer violence, there's loads of fights in corridors, hammers removing teeth. It's all there in both films. But don't get me wrong, You Never Really Hear is a completely unique experience. It's very, very different. And it's beyond intense, it's beyond nasty, it's fully about how you think of the world and about how the characters think. The whole thing just lacks a clarity, and that's the point. In fact, just whenever the film seems to make sense and you begin to understand it, it twangs back into a sense of loss, a sense of who am I in this complicated scheme? And it's cut to the bone. This is a really lean movie. It's 90 minutes. Because there's no macro level, what's the big story? It's all about the one person story caught up in a bigger mix that you never get around to. It's just cut to the bone. There's no extraneous scenes. There's nothing explicit. It's all implied. It's all implicit. It's all about how you think and how you feel. And so it's a work of real genius. It's a story that's told without ever telling you a story. It's a story that's told through the mind of a person. It's a film that is so detailed in the way that it shows how the world is on a level where you understand the world without seeing almost any of it. It is grim, obtuse, dark, bone-chilling, intense, scary, interesting, gripping, artsy, genius. It is a really superlative work from one of the best filmmakers working today. It's absolutely phenomenal. I totally recommend this, unquestionably. Oh, and by the way, Johnny Greenwood provides a superb score as well, which only improves an already almost perfect movie. You Were Never Really Here is an absolute assault on the senses. It's tense, upsetting and scary almost throughout its entire runtime. Unquestionably, You Were Never Really Here is a masterpiece. An absolute masterpiece. If you like this review, please give it a like. If you want to hear more of my reviews, subscribe. Thank you for watching. If you want to find out what films I'm watching, you can follow me on Letterboxd or Twitter. Links in the description. And You Were Never Really Here is just an absolute masterpiece.